Okay, hi gang. So I'm here with a really exciting video all about Women in Science Day. And I didn't find out it was Women in Science Day until this morning when I heard it on the radio. I was like, excellent. What are we learning about today? Electromagnetic spectrum. Brilliant. So who were some of the women behind the electromagnetic spectrum and all of its amazing, joyous brilliance? Sorry, I'm a great big head. I'm filming you myself and I can't show you all the exciting things, but I can talk about them. So this is a very talky video. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the gamma rays, which are the highest frequency, shortest wavelength rays. Okay, and this is one of the more famous ones. We're going to start and end with the really famous ones. And this is Marie Curie. Okay, and what did she do with gamma rays? Well, she discovered radium, and radium gives off loads and loads of gamma rays, and it eventually killed her, which is sad. But Marie Curie was the only scientist so far to have received two Nobel Prizes, one for physics, one for chemistry. And she did this all about her discoveries with radiation and obviously with radium and gamma rays and the things they did there. So moving on to X-rays, which is the next one down, which has a slightly longer wavelength and a slightly lower frequency. Just got a ping from my phone. That's interesting. I'm going to do about Rosalind Franklin. You may have heard of her as part of the team that discovered the structure of DNA. So why am I mentioning her for X-rays? Well, what she did was she did a process called X-ray crystallography. Yeah. And she used to take the DNA strands, crystallize them, and then take X-rays of those crystals and use those X-rays, which looked like, if you've ever watched the really old Doctor Who's with like William Hartnell in, and you see the beginning there, they looked a little bit like some of those pictures. And she took those weird shaped sort of Xy crossy things, and she could measure the turns in the helix. So she knew the shape of the helix, and she did it all mathematically using X-rays. And that's just whoa. All the boys were like, they're playing with the Lego trying to figure it out. And she did it all with maths, which was amazing. UV rays are the next ones in line. And UV rays we mostly hear of because they're the ones that they tan your skin and they can cause skin cancer, and the ozone layer keeps them out. And of course, there was a big hole in the ozone layer caused by CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons, and one in particular, trichlorofluoromethane, or CFC11, has been causing loads of problems. But the hole in the ozone is closing, or has closed, or is just about closed, and we are monitoring that and the CFCs in the air and how it's all happening. And there are loads of women who are involved in that research. So just to give you a few names, Sun Young Park, the scientist, not the musician and actress. There's Alison Reddingson, Christina Theodorini, Carolina Sisso, loads and loads of different women who are involved with researching the ozone layer, the hole in the ozone layer, the CFCs. So it's not just women were in science, we still are, which is great. For visible light, now the thing is, we all kind of know that visible light exists, and we have done ever since we opened our eyes. So what can I say about this? Well, I'm going to talk about Cecilia Payne, who, oh gosh, it was about just over 100 years ago now. She discovered that hydrogen and helium were the most common, the most abundant elements in the universe. And how did she do this? She did this by looking at the stars, and more specifically, she used to diffract all of the light coming off the stars, and they gave off different spectra. So different elements give off different spectra, and it's really interesting. And she did this and discovered that hydrogen and helium had the most abundance in the universe. They're the most abundant elements. So we know that sort of stuff because of Cecilia Payne, a woman. Infrared radiation. Now, I spoke on my lesson the other day about William Herschel and how he discovered that infrared radiation was there with his experiments with which colour's warm, is there a colour that I can't see next to red, and he did that in 1800. But before he was born, all the way back in 1737, Émilie de Chasselet, who was a French scientist, and she translated all of Isaac Newton's works into French, and she was like the big name in French maths and physics, and she taught it and she wrote the textbooks, and back in the 1700s she was the big name in science in France, and she predicted infrared radiation. No one else did this. It wasn't a translation. She did it. She predicted it herself in 1737. Unfortunately, she died before seeing it discovered in 1800. And for the last ones, microwaves and radio waves, we're going to go back to someone who you probably have heard of, and that's Hedy Lamarr. Now you're thinking, Hedy Lamarr, isn't that the name of the actress? Ooh, is it like Sun Young Park? Are there two people with that name? No. Hedy, short for Hedwig, was an actress, and she was a mathematician. She had a brilliant mathematical mind. And what she did was she did a lot of maths involved in using waves for communication. And that maths, it was overlooked at the time. She was doing this during World War II to try and help communication. And this maths was completely overlooked at the time that she was doing. But we now use it. And we use that maths so our mobile phones work and our Wi-Fi works. So however you are watching this video is probably because Hedy Lamarr did all that maths back in the 1940s between films, and in the evenings when she was a bit bored and wanted something to do. So I just think that's brilliant. So all the stuff that we've got, all of the Wi-Fi, the mobile phones, the communication-y stuff, the maths for it was done back in the 1940s by Hedy Lamarr. So it just goes to show you, it doesn't matter what your day job is, you can still have fun with science. Okay, so that's my short little video just to introduce a few women in science on Women in Science Day. Okay, take care, and I hope that's been of some interest to you. Bye.